guys, it's Carissa. I am on what I believe is day 4 of my 2-week wait. I did actually end up having an IUI, but things didn't really go as planned. I took a little bit of a hiatus, not for any main reason. I just, there's so little forward progression. I feel like I've made so many videos and updated you all so frequently on so very little. And I know that you are here because you care ultimately, but it just sometimes feels like even I don't want to hear about it anymore because it's just the same old crap. So I just kind of took a break and but I've been actually feeling really good. Normally, no news is usually pretty bad news for me, but I've been keeping very busy. So if you do remember, I was told by the doctor at my facility that she wanted to trigger more than one follicle. So the goal was between 2 and 4 follicles instead of just one. And I was put on the mini stim, so I was on the not Lupron. I was on the Letrozole for like 5 days, and then I did injectables. And I did make it to using Cetrotide a couple of days, but it still turned out about the same as last cycle. Basically, I got to a peak and everything turned into little rocks. When I went in on Wednesday for my scan, I still had the one that had been a 15.4 on Monday, I believe, and then it had changed to a 20.24, which is a really good, that's an improvement. It's a really good amount of growth in that amount of time, but everything else was a 9 or smaller. That was very disappointing. However, the nurse that was there that day and who had been there Monday was the one, she's like my favorite nurse. She's the one that really seems like a big advocate for us. And she said, what if this is the one? And you certainly have the option to continue trying to grow more follicles, but we might be ignoring the one because we're disappointed because there aren't more of them. And I completely agreed with her. I just felt like it would be foolish at that point to continue putting drugs into my body when clearly I wasn't responding to them. And if anything, it made me feel good to know that I'm consistent. My body just does not respond to the drug protocol that I have been on. So we scheduled an IUI for the next morning, and Mike's count was 89 million, which is, I think, his lowest count since we started, or close to it. And I'm certainly not complaining about that because I know people suffer with much, much less in certain circumstances. So I feel like we gave it a fair shot. We did as well as we could for this cycle. Part of the reason why I think I'm not too devastated and why I feel kind of good right now is because I know that our next step is going to be our next IVF. I don't really feel like playing around with IUIs any longer. And the whole reason I did was to take a break, to not financially put ourselves out at the holidays, and to also make sure that we had some answers from the doctor before we dove into it again. And hopefully, not have as disappointing results. I know that there's no guarantee, and there's no way they can promise us our results will be better. But I really and truly just wanted to make sure that we were in a good place before we went into that. So knowing that the doctor agreed with me that the last protocol was a bust, and knowing that we're kind of, we were thinking about this time of year, we're kind of in that place, makes me feel like I don't even have to worry about the fact that I have a blood test on the 20th because I know how those blood tests go, I know, I don't have hope for it, and it's not being negative. It's because I'm looking so forward to our next steps and real, true progression in what we're doing, and really giving ourselves the best opportunity possible. So I'm just keeping my eyes on that, and I think that that's why I feel so good. I have actually had quite a lot more energy. I haven't been sleeping all day. Normally I'm depressed to the point where I can't sleep at night, but I'll sleep all day. I'll get my work done as fast as I can so that I can just sleep until Mike gets home from work. And I haven't done that at all in the last 3 days. I've kept myself pretty busy. I still don't feel like I want to be out and about and hang out with people. I'm still feeling very, introverted and quiet and to myself, but I don't feel the despair that I normally do during the 2-week wait. So it's great. The room upstairs that I do my makeup in, that's like a spare bedroom that has just been a trash hole since we moved in here. I've been making it my goal to clean it out and make it a nice space for myself. You may remember, like 8 months ago or something, I had talked about how we never really did anything with that room because we always hoped that we'd have to move things around upstairs to have a nursery someday, and it just never happened. And I can't keep just having a trash hole room upstairs because it depresses me to think that making it nice for me is like the universe's way of saying that's because you don't have a baby. And it's just been this subconscious, subliminal, complete cloud over my head for a really long time. So I suddenly got a lot of motivation to clean it out. I may even paint in there and just really make it a nice space. And that's been keeping me busy, mentally, physically, everything. I've just been up in that room, and that's very helpful. So that's pretty much it. I did look up my AMH on my patient portal because I didn't receive a phone call on it, which is totally fine. I'm not upset about it or complaining. I don't know if maybe they just didn't call because it wasn't a significant enough change, but it did drop. I was last tested in July of 2012 to see what my AMH level was, and that was the first and only time I had been offered an AMH test because I had previously been at a different fertility clinic, which I left basically with my hair on fire because it was just such a horrible experience. But this facility I'm at now tested my AMH when we first went there, and I came up with a 2.1, which as a woman with PCOS, that's quite low actually. And my levels were a 1.9 at this most recent testing. So it has dropped, which is understandable. I did do an IVF, and I have been pretty regularly and aggressively medicating my body to pump up my follicles to use them. So I imagine I've gone through quite a few of them since then. But I also think that it kind of helps hopefully push for some kind of change in our next drug protocol for our fresh cycle. I know that usually women with PCOS have really high AMH levels because their ovaries are just filled with junk. It's just follicles that are really just cysts or just empty. It's just a lot of stuff that can't and won't be used. But I'd like to think that that's just one of the symptoms I don't have. I don't ever get cysts, really. I think I've had one, maybe two, since I started having ultrasounds. And I've never had that string of pearls that they usually diagnose you with in my ovaries. I've been very lucky in that respect. I just have insulin resistance, which makes me fat and a really hairy chin and upper lip. So I guess hopefully that's what that means, is that I'm just less affected in that sense, and I really don't have the actual cyst issue as much anyway as other women do. So I'd like to think that having a lower number like that does make my chances slightly better, because although it dropped, it's still definitely within the normal range, because it being at a 2.1, I was in a higher category. So that's pretty much all I have for you right now. I do have my blood test on the 20th. We'll see how that goes. And immediately following, I'll be looking to do my baseline for IVF. So that's it. As always, if I make any videos, oh goodness, this is getting awfully long. If I make any videos for the 2-week wait, just other subjects, tags, anything like that, I will be putting it on my other channel. And most likely, if it's not related to this at all. And I did want to just very quickly let you know that I did change my Instagram. Most of you that have been following me, I think I found all of you, and I think I figured everybody out, and I invited you on my new Instagram, but I'll put it below. I just kind of was starting to feel like I wanted to keep some of this stuff more private and more YouTube related things more private, and just have you guys on there, and have my other Instagram be more for everyone that I know in my personal life. You are certainly welcome to follow both of them, but if you want to see stuff that's related to TTC or just anything that I would make a video on otherwise, it's going to be on the other one now. So you may have already gotten a request from me, and the username is Carissa Loves, and it's terrible, and I know, but I couldn't think of anything. I wrote down like 3 different things. I changed it rapid fire, but that's the best I have right now. If you got something better, let me know. Other than that, everything else is going well, and I'll update you if I have any news. In the meantime, have a really good daylight savings time. Okay, bye guys.